Should data be treated as private property? Hi everyone. Today I'd like to discuss a question that has become increasingly significant in the digital economy. Should personal data be treated as private property? Data has often been described as the new oil of the 21st century. Every day, individuals generate enormous amounts of information through online searches, social media activity, financial transactions, wearable devices, and smartphones. Technology companies analyze these data to improve products, train artificial intelligence, and develop targeted advertising. As the economic value of personal data continues to grow, an important legal and economic question emerges. Who should own personal data? Supporters of treating data as private property argue that individuals should possess ownership rights over information generated by their own activities. If companies profit from collecting and monetizing personal data, citizens should be entitled to determine how those data are used. Property rights would strengthen individual autonomy by allowing people to grant, refuse, or even sell permission to use their information. Moreover, clearly defined ownership rights could improve market efficiency. According to the economic theory of property rights, resources tend to be allocated more efficiently when ownership is clearly established. If individuals own their data, firms must negotiate access through voluntary exchange, potentially creating a transparent market for personal information. Such a system could also encourage companies to compete by offering stronger privacy protections. However, critics argue that personal data differ fundamentally from ordinary property. Unlike physical goods, data can be copied indefinitely without depriving the original owner of their use. Furthermore, the value of data often arises not from isolated pieces of information, but from large-scale aggregation and analysis. A single person's browsing history has limited value, but millions of combined records allow companies to identify meaningful behavioral patterns. This characteristic makes traditional property law an imperfect fit. Another difficulty concerns information asymmetry. Technology companies possess far greater expertise than ordinary consumers regarding the value and future uses of personal data. Individuals may agree to sell their data without fully understanding the long-term consequences. In such circumstances, formal consent does not necessarily guarantee meaningful autonomy. Critics therefore argue that privacy should be protected primarily as a fundamental right, not merely as a tradable commodity. There is also a broader societal concern. Large datasets contribute to medical research, urban planning, public health, and scientific discovery. If every piece of data required individual negotiation, socially valuable research might become significantly more difficult. Governments must therefore balance private rights against the public interest. In my opinion, personal data should not be treated as ordinary private property. Instead, legal systems should recognize that data possess both economic and constitutional dimensions. Individuals should retain strong rights to transparency, informed consent, correction, deletion, and meaningful control over their information. At the same time, carefully regulated data sharing should remain possible when it serves important public purposes and includes robust safeguards against misuse. Ultimately, the digital economy forces us to consider traditional legal concepts. The question is no longer simply who owns information. It is how democratic societies can protect individual autonomy while enabling innovation in an increasingly data-driven world. So here's my question for you. Should personal data become a form of private property that individuals may freely buy and sell, or should privacy be protected as a fundamental right beyond ordinary market transactions? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for listening. See you next time.